Make sure y'all get in there, man. Make sure y'all, I want y'all to comment when y'all log in. I want y'all to comment where y'all watching the show from. Where are y'all watching the show from? And then if you want to, you can tell us what fan group are you coming from? Are you from, what school you coming from? If you're a Southernite, if you're a FAMUan, if you're from Mississippi Valley, of course, the Jackson State University. If you're from Texas Southern, put it in the comments. Of course, Prairie View, Grambling. Even if you're from Tennessee State, Wilberforce, Virginia State. We got some good people out in Virginia State, don't we, Mr. Campbell?
I don't know none of those people.
Norfolk State, if you're in the building, let me holler at you. Hey, I got my favorite girl in here from good old Alabama A&M down in Normal, Alabama. We got Sharif from Bama State. Hey, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here with us on Coach's Corner. Coach Cole is on the way. Today he had just a slight conflict. He got some other things that he's obligated to do on Tuesday this time of year, but he will be on the show. I can guarantee you that. He gave me my word. But we're going to get in these conversations and discuss these topics that are happening all over the college football landscape. We're going to broaden the conversation somewhat tonight and talk about, some issues, some things that I know that you're interested in that are happening all over college football. But before we get into the conversation, I want to first say to my co-host, Mr. Campbell, how you doing?
Hey, man, listen, I'm here. I'm holding up my NIL deal. I'm showing up. I'm not holding out. I believe a man should honor his word. That's why I'm here. It's Tuesday night. Got some things to talk about.
Speaking about that, I want to say this, man. I want to thank you and Coach for showing up every single Tuesday after Tuesday. You know exactly how much we getting paid to do this. And
2.4 million.
and even with the grand total of zero, we show up each and every Tuesday, giving the people what they want, valuable information, giving them our experiences, sharing stories, educating, because you do a lot of that, Mr. Campbell, educating the youth and some of the old heads. And so I just want to thank you and Coach Cole for doing it, man, because it's an honor to be on the show with you guys, and I'm tremendously privileged to be in this space that I am.
Well, Rocky, let me just say, for all us HBCU people, we are happy that you're here. We are happy that you promise are still hanging around, still enjoying the great HBCU content. See, you ain't over there with the white folks talking about Colorado and all that. See, they ain't even got no channels. North Dakota State ain't even got no channels, nothing like that. See? So that's the thing about it. So you still over here with your black folks. The cookout is always the cookout. You know what I'm saying? We're going to give you a little something to drink, but we know we're going to take good care of you. That's how we do it.
Well, one thing I'll say, and anybody who knows me knows this is true. I love the blacks. I love the blacks.
Okay, that's good.
You know what I mean? So it's a pleasure for me to be here with you guys, and I love the conversation and the culture. I just love everything about it. And so, again, I just want to thank you guys publicly because it means a lot to me. But we're going to start the conversation off with one of my favorite topics. Let me try to find the article here because I know there's one. And it's surprising. It's surprising me how it's unfolded, because I'm surprised at how the story is really unfolding. Because I thought it would be a consensus among the people that care. I'll just put it like that. So let me go ahead and bring the story up. Not that one out. That's coming later. That's coming later. Hold on, Mr. Campbell. I got some new gadgets here, and I'm trying to organize and get it together. But let me share my screen right quick. All right, Mr. Campbell. This is an interesting situation here. And I want to bring this up. This is not necessarily the story that I wanted to bring up, but basically, let me see. Shedeur and Travis, their jerseys are being retired at the spring game. And surprisingly, to me, the Buff faithful are giving them an extreme amount of pushback. And I'll just ask you.
You mean the whites? The whites. See, let me be clear now. Because, see, there's a whole bunch of y'all wearing that CU game don't even know where Boulder, Colorado at. So we talking about the whites, the people that actually went to the school, right? Let's be clear on that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure.
Yeah. And basically, this is the first time I've seen people on the Colorado side willing to publicly criticize Prime. You a man that is fluent with, you're multicultural. You used to doing business and with everybody.
Internationally known and locally loved. Absolutely.
Are you surprised at the pushback he's getting from Colorado?
No, and I'm not. And I think, that's why I think you need to separate the two. I would like to see what the pushback is versus Shedeur versus Travis. Because I think this is more to do with Shedeur and being the lightning rod that he is than Travis Hunter. Because, see, you know, I mean, we deal with facts over here. So, you know, I had to go see how many Colorado jerseys were actually retired, right? So you got Byron White, who was actually on the Supreme Court, All-American. That kind of makes sense, right? Retire his jersey. Rashawn Salam won a Heisman Trophy. Kind of makes sense. Retire his jersey. Now, there's two other guys that I think this is what gives Shedeur, to me, standing. There's a guy named, let me make sure I got this. Joe Romick, who was an offensive guard between 1959 and 1961. And that 61 team, listen, I mean, we come with those stats. They won the conference, man. Hey, listen, they won the conference. And then you got this other guy, Bobby Anderson, number 11, played in 1969, and they were 8-3 in the Big 8. So, you know, again, there was something to that. Now, my problem is when I looked at what they added Shedeur, this is where it got shaken for me. Now, I think, I'm not going to get it should he should not, but this was a stat that they put in here for Shedeur. He threw a touchdown in an NCAA record 49 straight games. And there's only one of two D1 quarterbacks to throw for 14,000 yards. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a secret. Half of them games were at Jackson State University. Okay?
Absolutely.
So now, hold on. Now, how you going to include the Jackson State numbers with that? Okay? See, that's my first problem. You don't be using our numbers to build your case. Now, use your now Colorado. Now, I'm going to give you the Colorado numbers. Now, I'm going to give it to Colorado. He set 100 school records. He was a Johnnie Unitas Award winner, and he was AP first team All-American. Well, second team AP, couple All-Americans, right? So my thing is like, I don't know. You didn't win a conference championship, right? You played 2 seasons. Now you got the 100. Listen, I get 100 school records. That's a lot. But Travis, he won a Heisman Trophy. Rashawn Salam won a Heisman Trophy. So I'm going to put those guys together. So if they retire Rashawn Salam, you got to retire Travis. And Travis won, you know, the Thorpe Award, you know, a couple other awards behind that. But Shedeur, I think this is more about Shedeur than Travis. I'm going to be honest with you.
So you taking the approach that this is more daddy ball than on merit?
Yeah, well, I think the argument, because like I said, I want to be fair, because I'm a big Shedeur fan. I am a huge Shedeur fan. But I'm just saying, if you're going, I'm looking at the other guys. they have won conference championships, right? Or you got a Supreme Court justice or Heisman Trophy winner. And then to build your case, and I'm reading on the Colorado site that they're counting Jackson State numbers. And I just can't do that. I just can't count Jackson State. Jackson State numbers, Jackson State numbers.
Well, here's the thing that's peculiar to me. I'll say this. What's peculiar to me is neither one of these guys have even been drafted in the NFL, and they already want to retire their numbers. And my question to you is, with them still, even though their collegiate career is over, their overall stories are still being written about who they are as football players and who they are as men. What's the rush to put them to retire their numbers? That's what is peculiar to me.
I think that's a great point. I'm gonna tell you the rush because Deion know he ain't gonna be there, and Deion know if he ain't there, them white folks not gonna retire them jerseys. So that's why I think Deion is being a little bit self-serving, and he knows he's not gonna be there. And I agree. I think there's something to allow, as they say, let it cook. Let people appreciate you. Not do something in the spur of the moment. And that's the thing about it right there. He's not going to be there. So to me, that's why I said it looks self-serving. Because to me, I would want the board, the trustees, the boosters to bring that up. You know what I mean? Again, the people that we named. Like I said, I don't know the two players. Like I said, I know who Byron White was because he was a Supreme Court justice. I know who Rashawn Salaam was because I actually saw him play. Other two guys, again, they won a conference championship. Colorado, so do they win a conference championship?
Yeah. Hey, okay. To continue this conversation, I want y'all to call me. I want y'all to call me. So we got a caller on the line right now. We only got one for right now, but we are going to be taking calls all during the show. So caller with the last 4, 9387. What's your name and where you calling from?
What's good, Dr. Justin from Smash, man? Good with y'all.
What's going on, man? How you doing, Smash? Thank you for calling in. What are your thoughts on this? You only cover one topic, so what do you think about this Shedeur thing, man? What do you got to say about it?
I feel like he shouldn't get his jersey retired, and I feel like I agree with you. It's a daddy ball game, you know what I'm saying? Like, use the comments. If you say Jackson State wanted to retire Shedeur and Shedeur number, understandable. You know what I'm saying? Dude won championships there, the culture, the impact. We could give a lot of stuff to say why Jackson should do it versus Boulder. You know what I'm saying? Now, Travis, on the other hand, hell yeah. If they retire one Heisman winner jersey, simply off winning the Heisman, his number should get retired. But Shedeur, man, I feel like besides, like Mr. Campbell said, most of them records come from Jackson State season. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I feel like it's daddy ball at its finest. And I feel like he going to ruffle a bunch of feathers with this one on top. But you still have to prove that you can coach once your son and Travis gone. You know what I'm saying? So imagine they retire the number and then you really don't do good after that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You really going to ruffle a bunch of feathers. So that's my opinion. What y'all think on that?
Well, I'll say this, Smash. I think the timing is peculiar. These guys are about to be hopefully drafted in the first round, both of them. And so their stories are still being written. And you're retiring it. And this is where I would be kind of put off, is that they're being retired at a spring game. And not only are they being retired at a spring game, they're doing both of these guys together. And at the end of the day, I think one should happen during the season if you're going to do it. And Travis, in my opinion, deserves his own day because of what he accomplished as a player at Colorado. I certainly believe that his jersey is deserving of retirement. I don't think you have to do it now. I don't even think you have to do it in the next 5 years. But I think his jersey is worthy of being retired. And on the other hand, Travis should not have to share his day with Shedeur.
Right. Coach Campbell, how you feel on the poll? I say you think Jackson should retire your numbers. I know you're Jackson.
Bro, listen, okay. Now, listen. I'm from Jackson, okay? I want y'all to understand something. Right. Jackson State hasn't retired Walter Payton's number, okay? So, bro, it ain't going to be no Shedeur nothing. Because I will drive down I-20 before that happened. And they didn't no disrespect. But Jackson State, from my understanding, because I always ask is why Walter Payton, as of right now, they don't retire jerseys. So, hey, A.D. Robinson, you need to get on that, bro. You need to get Walter Payton people down there, his son, and retire Walter Payton. That 34, if no other number needs to be retired. So Walter Payton number is not retired, bro. We ain't retired. Well, I'm saying we as a Jacksonian. There's no way that Shador will try to get that number retired.
Well, I go ahead.
A lot of people might not know that, Mr. Campbell. I thought his number would have been retired. That's crazy.
But listen, bro, that is a big thing. You know, again, I don't want to get this off track, but bro, for them old heads, and like I said, again, I don't know the politics why that they have not retired Walter Payton's jersey, which is, like I say, again, it's just again, it's a lot.
Well, Mr. Campbell, let me
say something. That's not true. I mean, you might have heard that, but there is a lot going on with that. So I'm not going to bring that out. But the bottom line, I don't want to get poked. Jackson has great players that have not retired. He's not the only Hall of Famer. So none of those guys are retired. So I don't want to get caught on the politics with the Walter Payton thing. But none of
I agree. And I'll just say this, just as a basic football fan, not really knowing about the history of Jackson State. If y'all not retiring Walter Payton number, then y'all can't retire nobody's number. You can't retire nobody.
Understandable. I ain't know that. My bad to bring it up. I would have thought that shit is as much as he's plastered on the stadium, on the side of the truck and shit, should have been retired. But I guess that I won't get the old heads rattled up. That's my time, y'all. I ain't mean to do all that. You know what
that's what this is about, man.
No, man, we appreciate it. No, that's legit. And like I said, I don't think a lot of people, and again, I think a lot of new people don't even know that. You know what I mean? I'm talking about some of the younger Jackson State people didn't know that. So there's nothing wrong with that.
And being a Cowboy fan, I don't believe that numbers necessarily need to be retired in order to give the player recognition. You understand? Because I believe there's something to being an 88 club member. You know, there's something to somebody wearing that number and being and passing that legacy on of being an elite player. And I think that's one way you can recognize a guy, whether it be Walter Payton or Drew Pearson or whomever. In this situation with me, the main thing that would, if I were the AD or part of whatever council or committee that approves jersey retirement, I would wonder why is the timing, why is this such an urgent matter? That's what would concern me.
Well, let me ask you this question, Rocky. Why do you think the Colorado people, or what are they saying why they're upset? Is that their point that it's too soon?
So you got guys like Marco Coleman, unanimous All-American. You got guys like foundational program players like Eric Bieniemy and Darian Hagan, Westbrook, Cordell Stewart, guys who won championships that their numbers have not been retired. You understand? So when you mention all of those guys, and maybe I don't think Marco Coleman may not have played at Colorado.
Georgia Tech. You're talking about
yeah.
The name is McGee and Alfred Williams, the H-Town boys.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but my
Deion Figures.
Deion Figures. My point is, you have players like that their numbers have not been retired, and so for Travis and Shador to jump the line, it would. You got the idea that nothing has happened in Colorado before Coach Prime got there.
Well, okay. So this is now. Remember the coach. Wait, Smash still on?
Yeah, go ahead, Smash.
Yeah. Somebody just text me. Walter Payton is in a JSU Hall of Fame. He don't need his number retired. I disagree.
What does one have to do with the other?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know who texted you that, but I'm just gonna let you know. Right. One, the purpose of retiring a number. Let's again see, and I know how this is going. Let's not talk about Walter Payton. Okay, let's talk about a number period. Because I know where this is gonna go left. I'm trying to get it back in. Right. The purpose of retiring a number for any school, right, is to honor that person. To say nobody else is going to wear this number because that person was that great. So this ain't got nothing to do with anybody. So many schools have retired numbers, okay? So that's the thing. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, now we're talking about Colorado, not Jackson State. The point of Colorado does retire numbers. And the question is, has Shador, because I think Travis Hunter has met the bar, but I'm with you. I think it should be when he done got it grown a little bit, let him get some hair on his chin and come back with a family. But Shador, again, I'm looking at what they're saying, and they are counting records, and this is how Jackson State got involved. They're counting records for Jackson State. So that's the thing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
But yeah.
Go ahead, Smash.
No Shador. It ain't Shador time at all. Like they were saying, because you can get a quarterback to come in and just outdo. Basically, if a quarterback come in and win a conference, he pretty much did better than Shador. Which, when you say that's a hell of an argument, you know what I'm saying? He can win it, take them all away, but not Shador. I think Travis for sure. But that's my time, y'all.
Now hold on. Now, okay. So Smash is something. Now this is what I would be interested in. So they got the kid Juju coming in from Georgia to be the quarterback. Mm-hmm. He wins a conference championship, and just a conference championship. Okay, does he get his jersey retired? Do all the players on that team that make all Big 12 get their jersey retired? Come on, man. It doesn't even make any sense.
I tell you one thing, if let's say it doesn't happen, because I know they got a hell of a bunch of players coming up. If the quarterback that come there next year and win the conference, I'm gonna feel like shit. Shador win this motherfucker. I don't care what records he did. Like you said, most of them was Jackson State stats. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna feel like I need my number retired too. So that's gonna get called daddy ball for sure. It's all daddy ball, and it's gonna take something simple as a quarterback coming and winning. Shit, a quarterback taking them to a decent bowl game for real. Like, come on. But I don't know, man. This is a good topic, man. I know I got more to go. I'm gonna go, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all.
Well, Rocky, let me ask you this, and this is the thing about
it.
To me, again, when we start talking about college greatness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, and I'm just going to like this. You think of Cam Newton. That's greatness, right? You saw that. Now he only played 1 year.
Yeah.
1 season. But that 1 season was a national championship and the Heisman Trophy first pick. Okay. Peyton Manning, overall career. Eli Manning, Charlie Ward. You know what I mean? Michael Vick. Guys like that. So that's, to me, when you're saying retiring, where you have a long history at the school, where you have achieved something. Because again, the point of it is you have achieved something that most people in that jersey have never achieved. Shador didn't even win a conference.
So I put Shador in this category, and follow me if I'm wrong, because I know you're a football fan. It would be the same thing if Texas chose to retire Major Applewhite's jersey and then not retire Vince Young's jersey.
Beautiful. Exactly. And people will lose their mind. The blacks down there in Texas will lose their mind.
Yeah.
So again, see, to me, and that's why I think, to me, and again, I think Deion, this is what I'm saying by he's watering this down, right? Because when you do that, then this is where the argument comes in at. Because there are people, if that's just the barometer, that he made All-American and he broke some school records, right? Because that's the barometer. That's all that he has. Because he didn't win a conference championship. He didn't win a national championship. He was a first team All-American. The Johnnie Nice Award and broke. Is that the standard? I don't think that's high enough. I don't think that's high enough. Now, Travis Hunter, for what he did, and again, if Rashawn Salam, see, I can see that. And then the other guy, and again, Byron White, he got his number retired. He was an All-American multiple years, okay? Multiple years, not 1 year, multiple years.
A unanimous All-American.
Thank you.
That means every All-American team they had, he was on it. The AP, the UP, or whatever. So, again, I think,
and they were undefeated. And he's in the College Hall of Fame. You see what I'm saying? And then, so here's the crazy thing. When you said that, it's like, again, you're looking at when these guys getting their jerseys retired. It was not during the season when it was now. They were gone. Where people could reflect and say, you know what? They deserve that number retired. So my thing is, where's the reflection? Because to me, as I'm reflecting on it, and again, okay, so here's the thing. Now I will play this game. Where does Shador have more? Forget the level, because we understand the level. But where do he have more success at? Jackson State of Colorado. I say Jackson State.
Well, I mean, as a quarterback, you're ultimately going to be measured by wins and losses. That's the biggest. As a quarterback, that's your biggest stat. Now, again, I think Shedeur at Jackson State was statistically as impressive as he was at Colorado. I don't think, one was greater than the other, to be honest with you. Like, if you look at
talking about the wins. Because
the wins, you can't even.
Right, that was you just said. You gave the barometer.
Yeah,
you said
the wins. And again, it goes to what people see. This is one of the problems that I used to fight against people when they would say Shedeur and Deion played with an agenda. This kind of validates the point that they played the games with the agenda of creating a narrative for Shedeur that wasn't organic. It was almost contrived because they were only going to play in an offense that was going to feature the quarterback as a passer. They were only going to play in an offense that was going to allow him, winning or losing, he was going to throw the ball. They were going to win on his back or they weren't going to win at all. Even at Jackson State, I think there were times when they didn't try to develop a running game because they wanted Shedeur to be the main man. And so, again, this kind of feeds into that notion that these last four years of Shedeur's career was somewhat, and I hate to use this term because it devalues Shedeur, but I think it was in other words, he was propped up. As successful as he was somewhat propped up by his father and the systems that were created for him. Would you disagree with that?
Well, yeah, he was featured 100%. He was featured. And we understand that. And like I say, and again, Shedeur is extremely talented. So like I say, the talent is not the issue. It is the resume that we're talking about, not his talent, because his talent is enough for him to be a top something pick first round at least. So we know the talent's there. But again, when you retire a number, it is the body of work that retires your number, not because you had a hot season. And like I said, if you're going to have a hot season, and I need to find out now because I don't think Cam Newton's numbers retired at Auburn. And that's a hot season. If you're going to have a hot season, that's the season you have. That you're going to say off of one season that a guy's going to get his jersey retired.
Well,
or you know what? Let me give you another guy.
I think Cam has been offered a jersey retirement, but because of the way they treated his father, he's declined it. I think he's gonna address that at some point. Because he has said that on his podcast that they've invited him back several times, but he didn't like the way. Oh, Cam is retired. Okay, Cam, his number, yeah. But again, guys that win national championship and Heisman trophies, let's not compare those guys to Shedeur. I'm not trying to. Let's talk about guys in this regard. Guys that didn't win championships at their school and guys who didn't win Heisman trophies. Whose numbers are retired?
Now, let me say this. No, so Cam Newton's number is not officially retired at Auburn. And again, when it looks like that he said he didn't want the kid that wanted the number 2 jersey to have that pressure on him of living up to that number. Phil Jones passed. So I want to clear that up. So no, his number is not officially retired. They just have not issued it out to anybody. So it's kind of like maybe like I think somebody said that there's one of those unofficial retirements. Like nobody's wearing 34 at Jack State. It's retired, but it really ain't technically retired.
Who has the gall and audacity to put that on their back? You know what I mean? When you talk about, I'm talking about Walter Payton.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of numbers available that you can wear as a running back that's not 34. Yeah. And for what Walter has meant, not only Walter's a football icon, he's bigger than Jackson State.
I mean, Walter Payton, like I said, when you're talking about, man, they have the Man of the Year award named after this man. Okay, in the NFL. That shows you the character of not only his legendary status on the field, his legendary status off the field. That's the kind of person. So again, that's why when you start saying this out loud and what the measurements are to retire a number. And again, and see, this is the thing about it too. I think with Deion, I think he's playing a very dangerous game because, again, they want Colorado to win. All the alumni, I'm sure they're very happy about that. He's bringing in all that money. But you have those old heads that they say they're going to be Colorado forever. That's why they got mad. Prime, I don't know if you guys remember the story. He had that, he had that Prime logo, right? And that dude, I'll never forget this. In one of those chats was like, I am class of 65. CU should always be bigger than anything Prime. And he switched that thing up quick, boy. Because them folks was calling in like, we ain't buying that. We're not buying that.
And I suggest you guys go on Twitter to really get a feel for what kind of pushback Prime is getting from the CU faithful. It is really, and they're not really mincing words. Now, they're not being derogatory or belligerent or anything like that. They're just simply saying that Colorado existed before Deion arrived, and all those great players who contributed to the legacy of Colorado should be recognized before Travis and Shedeur. That's their foundational argument. They're not even really getting into whether Travis and Shedeur deserves to be retired or not. The argument is there's a whole host of players that contributed to the Colorado legacy that are not retired. For those guys to kind of jump the line is rather disrespectful, not only to those players, but disrespectful to the Colorado legacy.
Right, and the thing about it is Deion didn't get his damn jersey retired at Florida State to damn 6-7 years. You know what I'm saying? And he was Deion Sanders, the person that put Florida State on the map. So again, how do you equate that? Like, come on, man. What are we doing? What are we doing? So yeah, I see the pushback. And again, I think, and see, again, I understand it. Travis and Shedeur. But hey, man, Travis Hunter's Travis Hunter. Okay? And I think, again, I know, and Travis ain't saying this, but I'm going to say this for Travis. You are allowed to carry your own flowers without anybody else. Because your skill is your skill. And that's the reason why Travis Hunter who he is. So my thing is, again, you're putting me, because like I said, because you know what the question I would ask Rocky, let's say Travis Hunter wasn't there. Do you think they just would still try Shedeur's jersey? And there was no cover of Travis Hunter?
No.
Exactly. No way. Wouldn't happen.
No.
And Deion knows that. Deion knows that. So
and again, there's so many different scenarios that we could pose because we know as a community, and I'm talking about Black people, how often we can be slighted in situations where we deserve recognition, our own recognition. And in this situation, I just think Shedeur is being thrown into a situation that's sort of unfair to him in that regard, in that he's going to be measured up against guys like Cordell Stewart. He's going to be measured up against other unanimous All-Americans, multiple year All-Americans. He's going to be criticized. You know what I mean? And he doesn't deserve that because he was a sensational player and deserves to be nothing but praised. But putting him in this situation, I think people are going to take the opportunity to criticize him, in my opinion. And I don't think it's, we have children, and I want to ask you this. We have children, and we definitely want our children to be successful, Mr. Campbell. And we want all, and I'll say this as a father, all four of my children, I've done things to even ensure that they have a chance for success. You understand what I'm saying as a father? But I wouldn't feel right if I put my child in a position that he didn't deserve in front of someone else's child. I don't think I would.
Well, here's the thing. I will say this, and this is why I always think Deion doesn't get a fair shake on this, right? Or it gets all this. Deion is a hell of a father. His kids love him. And that's all I need to know as a father. When your kids, and he got 5 by 2 different women, been married, and all his kids love him, and he treats his kids wonderfully. So I have no problem with, because like I said, white folks do it all the time. The man is doing what the man, Arch Manning already got hooked up. He getting millions of dollars because he's Arch Manning, because of his granddaddy and his uncles. So I have no problem with that. I'm just trying to keep it in the middle of the road. And that's the reason why I said separate the two. If I'm looking up the list that Colorado retired, and somebody funny said SWAC media is talking about Colorado. We ain't SWAC media. We just media. And we ain't even media. We just people that are having a good time on a Tuesday night. So we appreciate that you're here.
And I'll also say this. Our loyalty is not to topics or schools or anything like that. Our loyalty is to the people. And ever since we've been having this conversation about Deion, Mr. Campbell has access to the analytics just like I do. Our audience has been growing exponentially as we've been engaged in this conversation. So again, we're having this conversation because obviously it has some traction with our fans and our followers, and so that's why we're having it. But speaking of fatherhood, I'd like to take a second to recognize something, and I want you guys to stay with me just for about 5 minutes. First off, I'd like to say today is my 16th anniversary with me and my lovely bride. This is our sweet 16, Mr. Campbell.
Wait a minute, you on this show? Oh man,
yeah. Well, you know, we on the tax service. So April 15th, though we got married on this day, it has a lot of significance in our family. What? It's not only our wedding day, but it's also the day that the deadline for our customers to get their taxes filed.
Bro, and you know that's supposed to be on your behind if you don't get that. Hey man, listen now. Let me say something. Now this is what I'm calling a perfect marriage, because y'all keep the main thing the main thing. You can't have no marriage without no money. So get that money, because y'all going on a trip this weekend. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, we took a little excursion this weekend and spent time together, quality time. We had a great time with each other, and so I definitely want this. But she did something that was sensational to commemorate our family and kind of attribute to 2 things that are very, very important to us. One is our grandchildren, the other is travel. And to kind of bring these 2 things together, she wrote a children's book, Mr. Campbell. And the children's book is a journey with us and our grandkids, taking them to Puerto Rico and sharing Puerto Rican culture with them. This is a book in a series that she'll be writing 5 books. She already has 2 or 3 of them already completed, but she was able to write this book and get it published. This has been a passion project for her, and I just wanted to share this with you guys. And the book is available today. Today is the book launch, April 15th as well. And you guys can pick it up on Amazon, and I'll put the link in the chat. And so it's a great book. The illustrator was sensational. It's coupled with a tremendous story that she wrote that chronicles this is a fictitious vacation, but it's a really, really interesting story, and it marries 2 things that are very important to us, which is travel and our family. And here's my illustration right here. I don't want y'all to say anything about how I look in this illustration. The illustrator said this is how I look when I sent the pictures. And so this is the illustrator's impression of how I look. We all know I'm much more handsome in person, but the illustrator, I think she did a pretty good job. So if you have any interest in purchasing our children's book, please go to our Amazon and purchase it. It's very inexpensive, and we appreciate the support, man. I just wanted to get that in before we move on and continue. Looked like we were going to be talking about Shador and those guys before we go to our next topic. But we had a phone call and they just hung up. See, I was going to the phone call. Call if you want to call back, you can. But I want to wrap up this conversation about Shador and Travis and their numbers being retired. And let me ask you this: as someone who, like me, who's a Prime fan, who's a Shador fan, when things like this are presented to you, how do you balance being honest and speaking common sense and your fandom or your support for Dion? How do you balance those two when critiquing him like that?
The truth defends itself. I always just tell the truth. Like I say, man, I was in school when Dion was in school. I knew the hell that Florida State gave Dion. Dion had a black agent. Dion was one of the first superstars to have a black agent, Eugene Parker. So I've always admired. I've met Dion. I know Dion. Like you said, Kevin Smith is my guy. You know all them guys of my board. I did a lot of stuff down in Dallas. So I've met Dion several times. Dion is a good person. There's not one person that I've not known that directly has not said he will not help you, will give us laugh. So I have no problem with that. But I also know he loves his son. You know what I'm saying? And we can say, hey, bro, you love your son, and this is where it is. Because, again, my thing is, again, when you start lowering the bar, then don't be mad when other people say, I want to be in the club. Don't be mad when other people say, because I know I think the guy, what's the kid from Georgia? I know it's Juju. I can't remember his last name right off that. But if that kid blows it up, hey, man, I'm his daddy too. I'm going to be his biggest boy. Hey, man, I want my son up in the rafters. 100%. And I'm going to keep it real with Dion. If I win a conference championship, come on, man.
Well, you know, if you win a conference championship, it's going to be a whole bunch of people want their numbers in the rafters. That's the thing. If you're willing to put those guys in the rafters for a good season, I think, to your point, Mr. Campbell, the bar has been set pretty low, and so you know. But in other news, I want to bring this up because this is something that has really kind of almost taken over the NCAA news cycle the last couple of days. I'll just put it like that. And it is my man, hold on, let me bring that up. My man, Nico.
Yeah, that's your
Nico,
guy.
I've been pronouncing the name all day and I'm stuck right now. We'll just say Nico, right? If you want to try, I am Uleva. I don't want to mess the man's name up. Nico Amuleva, leaves. Some people say he left on his own volition. Other people say he was kicked out the team. I'll let you guys decide. What do you think about that situation? Me and you've had banter about it over text, so I kind of know how you feel. But I'd like you to share your feelings about this situation with our audience and let them kind of respond to, and then I'll share my feelings and I'll let the people respond to our opinions because we're on different sides of the fence on this.
See, this is where, and again, I think I told you guys, I had a couple of partners. We had a sports agency in the late 90s, early 2000s. Had a first round pick, had a lot of guys from University of Miami, Florida State, a lot of HBCU guys. This is where proper representation matters. And this is what my issue is. Not with Nico looking for money, but the way it went down. And when you have a true agent, not your daddy that wants to be an agent, not a friend of the family that wants to be an agent, a true agent, because you know what true agents do? They go out and find out information. They find out if there is somebody that wants to pay $4 million. And you know what you do? Like any other athlete, you keep doing your thing. Let me go out and find out, Nico, if somebody's out there willing to pay $4 million. And if it is, then guess what? You at the end of the spring, you're leaving. Guess what? He put on another jersey the next day. But the thing about what they did is they looked at and counted other people's pockets. And the worst thing you can ever do is count somebody's pocket instead of knowing what your pocket is. So my biggest problem with Nico was, first of all, let's be clear, this did not happen in the spring. This actually started, which I have to let you know, started back in the bowl. He was going to sit the bowl game out, okay, the playoff game, because he saw other guys getting $4 million. And see, my thing is, again, when you have a competent agent, and again, you got literally the girl from Florida State from South Carolina. She is managed by Clutch Sports. So you talk about big-time agents that are now representing underclassmen, okay? So there's not like he could not have gotten a level set agent that would have been out and said, Nico, here are the pros and cons. But when you go, and I'm just going to tell you this, man, I grew up in SEC country. I've been around it all my life. If you think you're going to buck up against them good old white boys, they're going to let you know real quick. They will spike themselves 100%.
Hey, look what I found.
Hey, y'all know I'm computer challenged.
Oh, man, look like you figured it out, though, Coach.
But I'm in the beautiful state of Arizona, as you guys can see in the background.
Hey, it looks good, Coach. God done cut off the lights where I'm at, so
yeah, not here yet, man. But as always, man, I apologize for getting on. But I've been trying, Coach. I've been putting it all in. I got about 5 computers out here, and my brother-in-law, man, he take care of me, man. He went and did some things, and it all popped up, and I'm happy to be here and with you guys as always.
Yeah. We get you caught up, Coach. We had a quick discussion about, not real quick, but we had a lengthy discussion about Shedeur and Travis, their numbers being retired at Colorado, and then responding to some of the pushback that he's getting from the Colorado faithful. A lot of people that are Colorado loyalists, to be frank with you, they're not happy about Travis and Shedeur's numbers being retired before guys like Cordell Stewart and Darian Hagan and Eric Bieniemy and other All-Americans who played and won championships at Colorado.
Right. This kind of I'm tell you, I got to side with them. This is more like a money thing. You know what I'm saying? It's more like a draw. It seems to it's something that's real. I think the schools will stand there when Travis and Shedeur move on, and it'll be there. And I think they'll have a time. I believe when you're talking about the Hall of Fame or putting somebody's jersey up, yes, the numbers do count, but there's a criteria because there always were people before you, like a Cordell Stewart, like the Heisman Trophy winner, and many, many more, and I think it's a process. I fight with my school about some of the same things about, I know the Hall of Fame is a thing that is a money deal, but it got to be ran right, and I'm with the people from Colorado. I think it's too fast. I think they will be in there. There's no question about it. They've made enough money there, so it ain't a money issue in the athletic department. And I just be honest, it ain't like they won't ever be in there. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't know the back behind it. Is it a goal or is it they still talking and chawing on it? Because if I was in that mix, I definitely would vote against it.
Man, they doing it Saturday night, Coach. It's having Saturday.
I think Thursday. I thought it was the 17th, but
okay. Yeah. I thought it was at their spring game or whatever.
Yeah, and the spring game is televised.
Right. They didn't do it with the other Heisman guy, Rashawn. They didn't do it.
His number is retired.
Yeah, but did they do it?
Not during the year that he got it.
Did they do that with Cordell Stewart? No, it took place. So,
Coach, this is something that you've always talked about me, to me, on different phone conversations that we've had, is that you've always said for these kind of things, you need a committee and a criteria already set before you start considering somebody. Set up the criteria, set up the committee, and then you can start considering guys. Because if you do it by virtue of favoritism or who likes who, you'll end up in a situation like this where it's, just because of relationship, guys are being inducted, and it's not really truly on merit.
I think it's a thing, you want $10 a day, and if you do it right, you'll get $1,000 tomorrow. Like I told you guys, I'm arguing with my school as well about doing things right. You can't always be right. when you're doing the Hall of Fame. But there's some people who walk through Colorado. There's some people who walk through Texas Southern and some of these other universities that actually helped and was at the time those type of guys. So it definitely got to be a criteria. You're always going to miss a guy, but you can't, and their numbers are good, and they're going to have that time and that opportunity to flourish, just not right now. I think the university, I think it's some guys that went through there, man, this blood, sweat, and tears. And Colorado ain't always been a losing program. There's a lot of guys that have came through there, man, that I think is better deserving now. I think it's just an opportunity that they've helped put the school on the map per se, but they just done what they supposed to do. And that's win football games. Deion Sanders came there and they, and they gave them the things that they needed to do to perform at that level.
Let me ask you this, Coach, before we move on. Could something like this assist in wearing out his welcome at Colorado?
Well, man, I mean, things like that, I think they'll always be welcome there, by somebody. You know what I mean? And the thing is that hopefully both young men don't get sour grapes from it, because they probably gonna get some boos. It's gonna be some people against it as well as for it. So I hope that don't happen, but I just think that's too early. Let them go ahead and go to pros, which they're gonna go, and do a 5-year deal. I think the Hall of Fame is you got to at least be out of the lead over 5 years. And I think that's a good criteria for any and everywhere. In college, when I'm talking about a board, I put a Hall of Fame on it at my institution, the Football Hall of Fame, and I actually went back and found some of the oldest people that were still supporting us. So I put them on the committee. I put the people that's new on the committee. I put some, and so since it was the first time we had done it since 1996, I took 2 players from each era, to kind of put on there. TSU started back in 1954. Even though we had actually the first All-American that was still living, we actually were able to put him in, and we just went all the way up, through Mike Strahan, of course, and Daryl Colbert and Donald Narcisse, and that's kind of how I done it, and it turned out it was a great event. We raised a lot of money, and we didn't have anybody or fighting saying, hey, man, I should have been on it. You know what I mean? Now we're having one, and I don't want to, us HBCU guys, Rocky, we try to keep stuff to the best, but since it's our show and we are HBCU, I have that same argument with my university. I don't want to say who, but it is what it is, and I think it hurts. I think it hurts and it turns away people as well that maybe want to give to the university. Okay.
All right. And the last little bit about that, I may know something you don't know because Campbell shared it with us. Do you know Walter Payton's number is not retired at Jackson State?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So
and they need to do a better job there as well. And Doug Williams. We talked about Doug Williams. At his 25th anniversary of winning the Super Bowl, they were letting him go after the 3rd game. You know what I mean? So it's if you don't know, you don't know. And Campbell we always talk about these athletic directors and their backgrounds and stuff like that. But when you don't know, you don't know. And I just think that Hall of Fame thing is a delicate thing. And it's a lot of people that have backup, have done great things, man, and have been overlooked, and it's a shame that happens on the college level. And the pros, they try to do it the right way.
Oh yeah, and we just before you came on, we had started talking about.
And one other thing about that too, it's a difference between retiring your jersey and retiring your number. When they retire your number, they actually take it out. when they retire your jersey, they actually have the jersey that you played in.
Okay. Well, this is the other deal, and this is something I really want your opinion on. As you say, you see me and Campbell have been bantering back and forth. Campbell brought up the point that a lot of people are taking shot at Nico, and ultimately this situation has arisen basically because of lack of representation. If you want to continue with that, Mr. Campbell, I think that's where you left off when you were before Coach jumped on.
That's my thing about having an agent, because the way the process would have worked is, okay, fine, he wants more money. He sees him and his team sees the landscape. Carson Beck got $4 million from Miami. This guy got $3 billion. I'm getting 2.4. So then first of all, you got to find someone that's willing to give you the money. Okay? That's the first thing. Second of all, if you want Tennessee, you have a casual conversation with the coach. Hey, coach, actually, it's not even the coach. It's the collective, okay? See, let's be clear. It's not the coach. I think we got to understand that too. You go to the guy, and see, that's what I'm saying. Much more informal with a collective. You could just say, hey, my guy's kind of looking for more money. What do you guys look at? You bring some more money. Maybe the dialogue is a little bit better. Well, let's see. Or then the collective says no. And then you say, hey, man, listen, let's sit tight. Because remember, Nico's a freshman, okay? He's a freshman. You have another great season. Let the market set itself. Then you already got people coming after you. See, that's another thing, too, which, again, when you got your dad and people like that, you got to understand how things laid out. So now guess what happens? You go out there. So, of course, the University of Tennessee, the ESPN machine with Paul Finebaum are all going to slam on this boy. And I'm going to say this because this is me and this is my blackness talking. If this was a black kid, he would have got way worse. He is lucky. If this was a black kid, it would not even be close to where they were tearing him up. He is lucky he's Polynesian. So I'm just telling you, that's just my personal opinion. So you get this machine against you, and now all these schools are going to collude. First of all, he can't transfer to any school in the SEC. Okay? Right. So you got to think about the school that have the money.
Right.
So you already, the major conference that spends that money, you can't go there. So then what you got to look at the Big 12. The Big 12 and the SEC work together. Well, was the one that told Heupel what this boy was doing. So you don't think this school's not going to collude against him to make him an example, to let him know you're not going to get that money?
Well, the big schools with the big money is Texas A&M, maybe Texas Tech and SMU that can go get the money.
But Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC, so they can't touch him anyway. Yeah,
right. When you guys sent me that, first thing I said was somebody in this camp. I don't blame the kid. I blame the camp. And I'm like you, Coach. You're just a freshman, man. We're gonna give you $2 million from the collective. Then you ain't even talked about your NILs. You're gonna get an NIL because you're a big time player. You know what I mean? And that's again. I mean, you said it so gracefully, Campbell. That's what your agent come in for. What is he for? And I think the people in the camp, the guided this kid in the wrong direction. And what is this about a Bugatti? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's.
My name is James Jr. and I want $500 on the lunch money for keeping up with the Jonas Bracket Challenge.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.